Do you ever struggle making visual aids for your open air preaching? Sometimes it's finding the right color combinations or the right fonts or even the right designs, and often the software that you use might be difficult or tricky to use. Well, today I'm going to tell you about a really helpful online tool called Canva that can help make creating visual aids easy. Hi there, welcome to the Open Air Mission YouTube channel. My name's Joe Bailey. I'm an evangelist with the Open Air Mission based here in the UK. And the purpose of this channel is to equip believers in reaching out with the gospel in the open air in an effective way. Now, some might ask the question, why bother using visual aids in open air preaching? And that's a great question. We don't depend on visual aids. It is the power of the message preached that saves those who believe. Yet in our day and age, we've found it to be helpful to have a visual focal point when we're preaching the gospel. Now, those visual aids may portray the sequential nature of a message, showing the different points that the preacher has already made so that those who are passing by and have just stopped partway through a message can hear more and understand the flow of the message. Sometimes we might just have a Bible text up on the board and preach from a Bible text. But either way, what is important is ensuring that our visual aids attractively and accurately communicate the message that we want to get across when we're standing up in the open air and preaching the gospel. And in this video, I'm going to show you how we can use a tool called Canva to create those attractive and helpful visual aids. What is Canva? Canva is an online graphic design tool that's used by companies, by charities, and by individuals across the world. It has a huge stock library of photos and graphics. Not only that, but Canva is packed full of professionally designed templates that can give you inspiration when it comes to designing visual aids that are attractive and interesting to look at. Now, you can create a Canva account with limited basic features for free. But if you want to get the premium version, there's two ways you can do that. One is to pay a monthly subscription fee, and the other is to apply for a Canva non-profit discount or free version of Canva. And the way that you can do that is simply to use your church if it's a registered charity, or if you're working for a Christian organization, you can then apply using that registered charity number and give evidence of that. And I'll link in the description of how you can do that. Once you've got your premium Canva subscription, it unlocks all of the features of Canva, which is really useful for open air visual aid creation. So without further ado, download Canva now. You can use it on a desktop, on mobile, on a tablet, or in the web browser, and create your account and apply for that charity subscription to get the free version. Now, when you open Canva for the first time, what you find is that you come to the home page. And the first thing we want to do if we're going to create visual aids for preaching using Canva is to create a background which accurately matches the size of the open air display board that we'll be using. So to do that, what we do is we go to custom size here on the top right hand corner, and we're going to put in there the size of the board. Now, I preach using an open air mission board, which is a pretty much standard size. You might have a different board that you put your visual aids on. But the way to do this is simply to click on the custom size, change this to millimeters, and then input the size of your display board. For me, that's 970 millimeters by 770 millimeters. And all I simply do is click Create New Design. What that does for me is create an open air board sized canvas for me to then put the visual aids onto when I'm designing. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Elements on the left-hand side here, and this is the menu that you can find all of the assets and graphical things that you might want to use, and then simply click on the square shape. And once I've clicked on that, it appears here on the canvas, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that across so that the background of my canvas looks like the background of the open air board that I use, so I can get an idea of how the colors will look on the dark blue background of my preaching board. Your board might be white or some other color. So what I then do is right click on this, and I'm going to lock it to stop it from moving around if I'm moving around items on the background. Now, I'm going to do a talk or create visual aids for a talk on the topic of the Bible. Question I'm going to ask and answer in the talk is this: what makes the Bible unique? Now, to do that, I want to give a title, and the way to do that is to add text to the canvas. So to do that, you just go on the text tab, click add a text box, and then simply drag it to where you want it to be, increase the size to a size that you're happy with, and then you can replace that text with whatever the title of your talk is. So for me, I'm going to say, what makes the Bible unique? Now, you'll notice that it's not very bold and clear, so I'm going to change that font to a different font. I'm going to click League Spartan, which is a bold, big font. Now, once you have your text in place for the title, you want to make it stand out. And the way to do that is to create a background for that text. To create a background, there's two ways you can do it. One way is by simply clicking to create a shape and then dragging that shape behind the text and fitting it to size, something like that. Another way you can do it is like this. You can click on the text itself, click on Effects, click on Background, and then you can choose an appropriate color. And I'm going to choose this yellow. Now, what you'll notice is once I've chosen this yellow background, the white text isn't very clear. So I'm going to change that text to black. But what I'm going to do is to make the word Bible stand out, highlight it, and change that to orange. So we're asking the question, what makes the Bible unique? Now, you can do with that text background, if you go to Effects, you can change the roundness so you can have straighter edges. You can change how far it spreads out from the text. You can even change the transparency, although I'd recommend keeping the transparency at 100%. So once we've got our title in place, you can always drag that and make it a little bit bigger if you feel it will there's more space on the board available for you. Now what we want to do is add the visual aids themselves. And this talk has 6 points that I have planned. So the first one is that the Bible is unique because of the author of the Bible. So I'm going to create a box and I'm going to drag that out roughly to the size of A4. And I'm going to change the background to yellow to match the top. And then I'm going to add some text. Now, click on Add Text Box, drag that across, and I'm going to choose the font that we've just used, League Spartan. I'm going to change the color to black, and I'm going to drag that out, and I'm going to write its author. Now, because it's a visual aid, it would be helpful to have some kind of graphic to portray something about authorship. So to do that, to find graphics in Canva, you can click on Elements on the left-hand side here, and I'm going to search for a nib of a pen. And here we've got a nice nib. I'm going to click on that, drag it down, and to keep some continuity with the rest of the design, I'm going to choose that color to be an orange. So there's my first point. What makes the Bible unique? The author of the Bible. And then simply, I'm going to replicate that same process 6 times for each one of my points. Now, I'm not going to make you watch all of that, but I'm going to do that quickly now so you see where I get up to. Now, as you can see, I've completed that process and I've created a visual aid for each one of the points that I want to communicate in the open air. Now, you can do other things with Canva. You could perhaps look at this and say, well, I don't like the order or how it's displayed. And this is one way I preach this message. I actually put the title in the middle, and then each one of the points I add round the edge to kind of make a circle as I preach this message. You may want to use images as opposed to graphics like this, and to do that, all you have to simply do is click on Photos. And if I click on Author, you've got all kinds of visual aids that communicate author. that you can use and add in on your talk design. Now, once you've got to this point and you want to turn your design into something that you can then print and laminate and use for preaching in the open air, what you then need to do is create a new document. And this is now going to be an A4 landscape document. So if you search A4 and then landscape, you can click on that, and that will create a blank A4 landscape document. What we then want to do is go from your main visual aids that you've designed on your full board view, and you want to copy and then paste these into the A4 design. What you'll notice is that Canva has automatically changed the size of the graphics that you've pasted across from the full board view down to the A4 size. So to make sure that it prints out at the full size, what you need to do is copy this or duplicate it. Now I'm on a Mac, so I can press Command D, maybe Control D on PC, but that duplicates this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply delete some of this and then drag it further down, and I'm going to drag this out to make it bigger. And then I'm going to delete this bit, the Bible. Unique. And I'm going to copy this. I'm going to duplicate this again. And what I want to do is make sure that these two texts are the same size. So this is 70, this is 100. So I'm going to select that and click 100. And then I want to also do the same for the word unique. So I'm going to delete that and click unique and boost that up to size 100 so it matches the other text. And what that means is that now our whole title fits on one page of A4, and we can now print that off. Now, what we need to do then is add the rest of the visual aid. So we simply click Add Page to create a new A4 page. Go back to our visuals here and drag and highlight, copy, and then paste. And what we find there is it pastes itself onto an A4 page. Now, what you may find is that if you've created a visual aid that's bigger than A4, again, it will shrink it down. This one is not. So it's worth bearing in mind that you need to create things roughly in the size of A4 maximum so that they can fit onto this A4 document. So we're just going to basically continue that process. So we're going to copy each one, paste it onto the page, drag it into the center, create a new page, copy and paste, and keep going until that's all done. Now there I have it. All 6 of the visual aids and the title are created in an A4 document. Now, in order to print this and then to cut it out and laminate it, what we need to do is go to Share. So we go up here and click Share, and then we can click Download, and we're going to select PDF, and we want to PDF all 7 pages. So I'm going to click Download, and what that will do is that will create a PDF that downloads it onto my computer, which I can then print and then use. So there we go, save that to my downloads. I will then be able to print that off as a PDF and cut the visual aids out, laminate them and stick them. Now, one great thing you can do with Canva that you can't do with many other types of design software is you can get easy feedback from other people. And the way that you can do this is simply to go up to this right-hand corner and click Share, and type in the email address of somebody else who also has a Canva account. And if they have a Canva account, they can then make comments on your design, give you feedback, and also they can duplicate a copy of it and make an edit to it to show you how they might change the design to improve it. Almost every open air talk I design, I send it to a friend who also uses Canva, who gives me his feedback on the design. And that's a really helpful collaborative process to ensure we're putting out helpful open air messages and designs. Now, one of the questions that people have is, how can I know what colors work in my design? We've all seen open air talks where perhaps the visuals are a little bit jarring because of the colors that have been chosen, or perhaps there's too many colors, or it's a bit too bland. And one way that you can do that is use Canva's color palette scheme. So you can do it within the app. If you go to design up here and you choose here styles on the right hand side, and you can go to see all recently used, or you can look at other types of palettes that are available. And that gives you a color palette that you can work from. And once you've clicked on that color palette, what it will do is it can actually change the whole design if you want it to, and it will install it on the side so that when you are designing, the colors that you've chosen from your palette will be easily available. Another way that you can find helpful color palettes or design ideas is to go onto the design tab again and click templates. Now, because of the size of the board, it's not always going to be that helpful in terms of what kind of templates that they have available. But if you go to, say, an A4 document and you look at templates, you'll see that there are all kinds of different templates which give you ideas of design. So I'm just going to create a new page. This is a brainstorm, but you could say, well, these colors might be helpful in an open air talk, or graphically, it might be helpful in seeing how they're laid out. So there are absolutely thousands of templates. To see more templates, you can go back to the home screen and back to home, and you can see there are just so many different types of templates, all kinds of design. One perhaps that's particularly helpful is looking at presentations and how those designs look, and you can get ideas for how to lay things out graphically and colors to use from the thousands of templates that are available within Canva. Now, very few of them will be actually useful directly in an open air setting, but it's the ideas you get from them which can be helpful in formulating your own preaching visual aids. Well, I hope that's been helpful. This has been a whistle-stop tour of Canva and how it can be used to create visual aids for preaching. If you've got questions, do drop me a message or get in contact with us, and I'd encourage you to subscribe to our channel to get more helpful videos on open air preaching and the practical aspects of that. If you'd like to join one of our teams and you're based in the UK and you'd like to have some first-hand experience of open air evangelism with a team of experienced open air workers, why not get in touch with us? Go on our website, oamission.com, and you'll see we've got a list of team events coming up that you can book on. Thank you for watching.